gotta be an idiot to bet on that parlay.
It's DTF or bust.
Put it on my mama's porch tomorrow.
Welcome back to Hold My Bev Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Park. Here with me, as always, the one, the only DTF. Dylan, did you have a great weekend?
I did until about 10 minutes ago.
Hey, your Buccaneers are up right now.
Yeah, 17-0 or 17-10. I mean,
Oh,
this
they
was the
kicked
game.
a field goal.
This was the game for them to go down, them Chiefs. I mean, Monday Night Football, Baker's been playing pretty well. This is it.
I mean, it's looking good for them right now. Up by a touchdown right now, so hopefully we can see them hold on to this lead. Obviously, I want to keep my lead in the race right here, but hey, I like
Yeah.
seeing the Chiefs lose every here and there.
I mean, it's the third quarter. It's plenty of time for Mahomes to do some magic. I'm never going to count them out until the clock strikes zero. So we'll see what happens. But obviously, I want the Buccaneers to pull out, win the game, at least give me one team that would win this weekend for me. But
Yeah. Well, at least the Cavs won tonight. They're 8
yep,
and 0 now.
8-0.
8 and 0.
I think,
Darius Garland went off.
yeah, I think LeBron and Kyrie got a chance to take them all the way this year.
All right, let's go ahead and get into um this week's games. We'll start off with Thursday night football. I thought this was a pretty weird game, even though we probably had catch of the year from Garrett Wilson in this one. We had the New York Jets beating the Houston Texans 21-13. Um, What were your thoughts on this game? I didn't really watch a ton of it because I kind of thought it was going to be a shit show.
I have a feeling that the 2 feet rule is going to go away in the NFL eventually.
What makes you say that?
I mean, they're trained to do 1 foot in the college league, right?
Yeah.
And you come up to the big leagues and it's all of a sudden 2 feet. But what we saw from the Steelers game last week to the Houston game this week, George Pickens' touchdown was called back, and he pretty much did the exact same thing. The only difference was it wasn't George Pickens, and Garrett Wilson had 1 foot in, but that same foot, his shin hit the ground. So you're telling me that 2 feet have to hit or a shin or an elbow or a knee? It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from on that. I wouldn't be against the 1 foot. I think we'd get a lot cooler touchdowns.
I just don't think that if you're gonna make it 2 feet in, his 1 foot touching and then that same knee or same shin dragging should not have been a touchdown. But it's not
Yeah.
my team, wasn't my, you know,
Are you talking
wasn't
about his first touchdown catch?
yes.
Yeah. That the second one where he did the Air Jordan was pretty cool.
That was the touchdown.
That was his first one? I thought that was the last one.
No, that was the first one because he caught it
As you
like
can tell,
back.
I did not watch this game fully.
Yeah, he caught it like this, kind of did like a little spin, and then he dragged the one leg in, but it was just the one leg. So they, reversed it and called it a touchdown, but I don't know. Obviously, they called it a touchdown, but the rules don't make any sense. If it's going to be 2 feet, it should be two legs at least. So if it's 1 foot, one shin, that should still be counted as one leg or 1 foot. If it's 1 foot, but then the other shin drags, that would make sense that it's 2 feet. But whatever.
Yeah, I get it. Um, so we were right about Joe Mixon getting over 100 yards and touchdown. I feel like that's pretty much a guarantee anymore.
Oh yeah.
Tank Dell did have a good game, 6 catches, 126 yards. He pretty much had majority of CJ Stroud's yards, only completing 11 of 30. Um, but other than that, we didn't really get anything else from this game. It was a nice bounce back game for the Jets, who were desperately needing a win and pretty much have to win out to have a shot now that they are 3-6. Um, Devontae Adams finally got his first touchdown as a Jet, and we got the sound bite of him and Aaron Rodgers saying, just like the old days or something like that. So that was a cool little moment that we got. Do we know, isn't Nico Collins supposed to be coming back next week?
Week
Or coming
11.
off week 11?
Week 10 or 11, yeah. No, week 11 because week 10 is Mike Evans.
So yeah, I thought he was getting off IR sooner than that.
He might be getting on the practice into practice, but I thought they were aiming for week 11. But obviously, we've got Mike Evans. I think his window opens, and Christian McCaffrey's window opens.
Well, McCaffrey supposedly is coming back this week.
This is week 10.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I think that would be week 10. Um, so yeah, that's gonna be awesome. That's two of my top fantasy players right there is McCaffrey and Collins. That was my number one and two pick.
Mm-hmm.
So that's gonna be nice for me warming up into the playoffs. Hopefully McCaffrey gets or looks a little better than Chubb has. Not that Chubb's looked bad since coming back, but
Two totally different injuries. I mean, an Achilles is a lot different than a knee, but who knows?
yeah. But next we had we'll move into the 1 o'clock slate from Sunday. We had the Buffalo Bills beating the Miami Dolphins 30 to 27. I'm so thankful that I did not take the spread that I said on our preview because this game ended up being a lot closer and it looked like Miami was going to win at one point.
Yeah, I had a parlay with the Bills money line, and I thought the exact same thing the whole game was. I'm glad I didn't pick the spread.
Yeah, the spread would have been atrocious. But you know what would have been more atrocious is if you took the over under on Tua Tagovailoa's passing yards. So the
Yikes.
over did hit until the very last play. He threw a little dunk pass over to Jalen Waddle, and Jalen Waddle ran for negative 24 yards,
Yeah, it's a tough
and
scene.
the over no longer hit. So this is a very interesting stat line. Jalen Waddle, 2 catches, negative 4 yards, and a touchdown.
Mm-hmm.
Very interesting stat line there. Um, Other than that, I think Josh Allen has, at least so far, still proven that he's been the MVP this year. I don't really think there's a ton of debate other than I understand like Derrick Henry. I don't really want to see Lamar win it again.
So I
But
think Derrick Henry's going to win Offensive Player of the Year, but the overall captain, the MVP, leader of the ship, it's going to be Josh Allen.
yeah, I think this is going to be his year to win it. I would probably agree with you that Derrick Henry will win Offensive Player of the Year. Um, But I really just want to see Josh Allen finally get the MVP because I think it was debatable whether he could have gotten it last year or not.
Hmm.
Lamar just had an amazing year. Then the Ravens have been very up and down this year too. Like they've been good, but they've been very up and down.
Yeah.
Other than that, I didn't really get a whole lot from this game. Um, Tua looked better than he did against the Cardinals. But other than that, I think Mike McDaniel, I think he's going to be trying to find a new job next year, probably.
Yeah, I'm getting sick of Tyreek Hill's performance. I don't know what's going on there, but he's not had a touchdown since like week 2 or 3. Um, I know we talked about this. He had Skylar Thompson for weeks, and obviously you want to get back in a rhythm with Tua, but it's just crazy that that offense couldn't work without Tua to this point. As for Josh Allen and the Bills, their offense is cooking. Everybody's getting the ball. It was cool to see Ray Davis get a 63-yard touchdown late in the game. And what was the best part about that entire game was Tyler Bass has not been that great this year, and McDermott put him out there to kick a 61-yard field goal to win the game, and he probably could have made 65 to 70-yard field goal. That
Yeah,
was that was cool. But
yeah,
if you missed it, they would have looked like super dumb as fuck because then the Dolphins could have just went down and kicked the field goal themselves.
right, right. Next, we'll move into, speaking of Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry, we'll move into the Baltimore Ravens absolutely demolishing the Denver Broncos 41-10. Everyone was saying, even us, that the Broncos were going to give them a little bit of a run for their money. Started off that way in the beginning of the game, and it just got out of hand really quick. Bo Nix kind of went back to Bo Nix things. At least threw for 223 yards, so
He
you
still
better.
looks solid.
Yeah,
He still
solid.
looks solid.
Yeah, solid. Just looks like the Broncos need to figure out their rushing game, or running game. Not a whole lot going on there. Cortland Sutton did get a passing touchdown. He got their only passing touchdown today.
Yeah, I was so confused.
Two Bo Nix.
Yeah, I was so confused because I looked at the box score and it said Nick's touchdown to or from Sutton or Sutton. And sometimes when you look initially at the scoring plays, they're like backwards. So that
Yeah,
they read them wrong, but then they correct themselves later on. So I genuinely was like, okay, they're gonna fix this. I look at my fantasy apps because I had Bo Nix and Sutton starting, and sure as shit, it said Sutton, one passing touchdown. I'm like, all right, cool. So I consoled in you guys last week, and I consoled in my friend who's a Broncos fan, and I said, "Who do you think, Stroud or Bo Nix this week?" And I had a gut feeling that Stroud wasn't going to play well, so I'm glad I asked you guys and I asked him, and Bo Nix ended up putting up more points than him for fantasy. So I'm glad I stuck with my gut on that one, as much as I love Stroud. But um, Bo Nix and the Broncos are scrappy. I mean, they lost by a ton of points, but it's the Ravens. I mean. I don't know. I mean, Ravens are either going to put up 41 or they're going to lose to the Browns by fucking less than a touchdown. So,
yeah. And then Lamar Jackson had another great performance. Three touchdowns, 280 yards. Derrick Henry, two touchdowns, 106 yards on the ground. Zay Flowers, I swear he's almost guaranteed 100 yards now receiving.
except for 1 week
Yeah.
against
And
Tampa
he had two
Bay.
touchdowns as well. But yeah, Ravens are I don't know how to really describe them. They're a great team, but I just feel like they just don't match up good against certain teams. Which I mean, it is what it is. And one thing that I took away from Big Cat actually today on Pardon My Take that was very interesting. And I just never quite really, I mean, I've thought about it before, but never like really, really thought about it, is a team's not going to take you serious until you have an identity.
Hmm.
I don't know if you caught on to that on the episode today from Pardon My Take, but and usually they're just bullshitting on the show, but when he said that, it actually had me like really thinking about it. Like, damn, you're right. Like the Browns have no identity.
Hmm.
We used to be known for, Nick Chubb was our rushing threat, and you had to respect our rush, and that was what opened up our passing game. But that just hasn't been the case this year for us.
Yeah, absolutely.
Um, so I thought that was very interesting when he brought that up. Um, but the Ravens, I mean, their identity is their rushing game. It's the same deal. I mean, they have a dual threat back there. They have Lamar Jackson who can run an 80-yard touchdown at any point, and they got Derrick Henry. And then Zay Flowers is down the field too, so you don't really know how to defend them. So that makes them tricky. Um, but anyways, we'll go ahead and get this next game out of the way. LA Chargers beat the Cleveland Browns 27-10. Uh, I thought we were going to play a lot better than we did. I was
Yeah,
surprised that Jameis Winston even ended up with 235 passing yards. Gave me a little bit of hope at the end for my bet.
I had a crazy 8 leg parlay and 2 legs didn't hit. David Montgomery did not get a touchdown, and it was only because I bet on him. And the only other leg of the 8 legs that didn't hit was Dustin Hopkins, 1.5 field goals made. He had one field goal, and I thought that was the only points we were going to score by the fourth quarter.
I was getting scared. I really wanted a garbage time touchdown at least. At least one touchdown. But Browns yet again failed to score over 20. We've only done it once, and that was our win against the Ravens last week. But Justin Herbert looked really good, other than getting sacked 6 times by not just Myles Garrett, but Myles Garrett had half of those. J.K. Dobbins, I really didn't feel like he had that. I mean, the box score makes him look a lot better than I really thought he played. I thought the Browns actually played him pretty solid, other than one run.
Yeah, he had a quiet day.
Yeah, I mean, 2 touchdowns, 85 yards on the ground. He had one run that was 34 yards, so that's bulk of those yards right there. Quentin Johnson actually had a really good day, but also had one really pretty bad drop that would have been a big play for them. 4 catches, 118 yards, and a touchdown as well. Um,
I'm pretty
Browns
sure
are
those
officially in fire sale mode. I'm hoping, well, I'm hoping yet not hoping. Um, the Browns are going to trade Zadarius Smith to the Lions. I think that's going to get done tomorrow, and I wouldn't even be surprised if Newsom gets traded as well.
Hmm,
Not that I want to see Newsom traded, but you know, I also think with the cap situation that we're in right now, it might be, and us being 2-7, it might be better for us to go get those draft picks.
I guess. I'm just
Uh,
gonna be sad to see Garrett leave. But not Garrett, I'm sorry.
Smith,
Garrett staying. But yeah, I'm gonna be sad to see Newsom and Zadarius leave.
yeah.
Um, any other situation, I wouldn't want to see Miles leave.
Oh,
Obviously,
yeah. I'd actually cry if Myles Garrett left.
at some point, Chubb's gonna be done here, and it's like I don't want to get to that point yet, but it's coming.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Chiefs just tied it up.
Oh, 17-17.
Yes.
All right, let's go ahead and move into this next game. This was the Michael Thomas game of the week. We had the Carolina Panthers beat the New Orleans Saints 23-22. Um, Derek Carr did not look too great in this one. Alvin Kamara had a lot of rushing yards, 155 on the ground, which I didn't even realize, and 60 yards receiving. But other than that, the Saints couldn't get anything going. Chris Olave did get his, I think, third concussion of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, it might be time for him to start thinking about life after football. As sad as that is, because I mean he's what, only like 3 or 4 years into his career.
Yeah. Oh, my homie is injured.
Oh,
He had a self-inflicted injury passing to P. Ryan. Oh boy. The thing about Olave is, yeah, I believe he was drafted in what, 20 or 21?
he was in the same class as,
Wilson.
yeah,
And Wilson was drafted the same year as Sauce Gardner. So I think
yeah,
3 years.
yeah, 3 years. Yeah, you're right.
But, I agree in some aspects where Michael Thomas said that he's throwing hospital balls or however he, described it. But I mean, at the same time, you're just trying to make a play. I mean, I don't know how you, I mean, I don't know. That's a tough one because it's not like Derek Carr was actually throwing it to be caught and then injured. I mean,
Yeah, I'm trying to find the tweet. Oh, right here. There was a tweet that was released yesterday about how many concussions Chris Olave has had since 2020. In 2020, he had got a concussion at Ohio State.
hmm
2022 got one concussion. 2023 got another concussion, and then has 3 times this year now been evaluated for concussions in 3 different weeks.
Yeah.
So a little concerning, especially since this last one looked pretty rough. I mean, a lot of people were pretty concerned about it, at least. Um, oh, I see a bunch of people tweeting now about Carson Wentz. Um, so yeah, hopefully I mean, as long as he's making his own decision on it, he's still young enough, but that's got to be scary. He's got to be what, 23, 24.
Yeah, I mean he should be wearing the
He's already
goaltending
had that
cap.
many concussions. So that's pretty concerning. Um, but looking at this box score, I don't even know how the Panthers won. It didn't look like they did anything that great other than Chuba Hubbard. But yeah, maybe Bryce Young has earned a spot back. I still am not a big Bryce Young guy, but
No, but you drafted him, one overall. You got all rid of all those draft picks. You've got to do something with him. So I think they're trying to
make the
just
best of it.
make the best of it, and you're getting a couple wins out of it. I mean, you'll still probably have a top five pick next year, but make the best of it for now.
Yeah. Also at the end of this game, and I think this move has been so like overdue for so long now, is the Saints finally firing Dennis Allen.
Yeah.
Not saying that I don't think he's a great coordinator, because I think that's probably what he's perfect at. Some people are, meant to be just coordinators, like really good coordinators, like Josh McDaniel, really good coordinator, but they're not leaders of men. They're not head coaches. I feel like it takes a very special person to be a head coach in the NFL, and I think that's why people like Antonio Pierce, uh, are pretty good head coaches.
Hmm.
Obviously, his record doesn't really show it this year, but they have a lot to figure out in Vegas, which we'll get into that game next. But I'm curious to see what the Saints do, because they're gonna have to hit a rebuild. They're in such cap hell though. Like, if people think the Brown situation is bad, with like just already going into next year, do you know how much they're already in or over the salary cap?
It was tens of millions, wasn't it?
80 million,
Yeah.
almost 90 million, already over the salary cap. Which,
Uh,
like, what is the salary cap? If you can go over that high, what is the salary cap?
it's make believe.
Yeah.
I don't understand it, but I think Dennis Allen was the most forgettable NFL head coach.
Oh yeah, I
And
kept forgetting who their head coach was, other
right.
than I knew he needed fired. But and you never want to see someone's job get taken, but yeah, that wasn't one that I think that should have happened probably a couple seasons ago, if not last season for sure.
Oh yeah.
That, and I didn't realize they've only had one winning record with him, and it was 9-8.
Oh yeah, winning record.
Yeah, barely a winning record. Um, but since we were talking about the Raiders, we'll go ahead and get into their game where the Bengals beat them 41-24. We got a little bit of Desmond Ritter action in this game.
Yeah. He had a touchdown.
Yeah, he actually got in the game this time.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't just send him out on the field. They
That's
actually played him.
yeah.
Um, which I did not know that Aiden O'Connell was on IR, actually. I did not realize that.
I didn't either.
Yeah, and that's why Desmond Ritter's playing.
Hmm.
Doesn't look like he played too bad. He took 4 sacks though. But went 11 for 16 and a touchdown. Zamir White actually got a touchdown, but he's been useless. He was my worst draft pick this year in fantasy.
Yeah, I tried to avoid all Raiders. I got stuck with Madison in my sleeper league, but honestly, Madison was
I
performing
was
pretty
gonna
well this
say,
year.
other than Brock Bowers, that's probably the best pick that you could have gotten.
Yeah.
I got
I
auto
avoided,
picked Devontae Adams, but
I was gonna say I avoided Devontae Adams at all costs because I didn't trust any quarterback playing there. And Brock Bowers is a rookie. I mean, I took a risk on Laporta last year as a rookie tight end, but I knew Jared Goff loved his tight ends, so there wasn't really a risk to me in my opinion.
yeah. Other than that, Burrow in this game, 5 touchdowns, 1 interception. Chase Brown had a monster game, 120 yards on the ground. Gesicki had the best game for the Bengals though, 100 yards for 2 touchdowns.
It was
Jamar Chase
crazy.
just getting
Yeah,
he's just sleepy out there.
they put up 41 points and none were scored by Jamar Chase.
Yeah. Very quiet game for him. 7 catches, 43 yards. Was targeted 11 times, just couldn't connect, I guess, for whatever reason. But next we had the Commanders versus the Giants. 27-22 Commanders win. Jane Daniels wasn't really asked to do a ton in this game. Did have 2 touchdown passes for 209 yards. And both of those were to Scary Terry, who had one of the craziest 2 catch, 19 receiving yards games I've ever seen in my life.
Scary Terry.
Yeah, Scary Terry. Can't sleep on him. And then Daniel Jones had actually a halfway decent game. 2 catches, or not 2 catches, 2 passing touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and then got more involved in the running game again. We hadn't seen that in a little while.
I think they're just unloading on him. They want to just work him as much as they can.
Yeah,
They're burning him to the ground
you get their money's worth.
or running him into the ground like an old Ford.
Yeah, but I mean, this game was a little closer than I thought it was going to be. So,
Yeah, so the spread was 4.5 points. Two of my legs in my parlay was Commanders first half money line and Commanders spread, which was 4.5. They won by 5. But the Giants scored a touchdown late in the game and they were down by 5. So if they kicked the field goal, it'd be a 4-point game, and I immediately my parlay's over. They went for two, and Daniel Jones got sacked. So in that moment, I was like, "Wow, that was the universe saving me." And then the universe fucked me by the Browns not kicking another field goal, which
yeah, I was going to say Dable was looking out for Vegas on that one.
I just got to stop betting on the Browns.
Yeah.
I have all these other decent to good picks, and then it comes down to my Browns picks, and they're always so unpredictable every week. Gabby said it best. She's like, "Stop betting on the Browns. They're the most unpredictable team I've ever watched in my life."
You know it's something when Gabby's saying betting advice.
Well, let's just be honest. The last three big bets I've had in the Browns were the Browns to lose to the 49ers. They beat the 49ers. The Browns to lose by 13.5 to the Ravens. They beat the Ravens. And then, I mean, these little kick bets. I love my kicking props. You know me.
Yeah. If I make a bet, I'm not doing Browns. I'm not doing Browns.
No,
I'm not doing it to myself no more.
I'm fading.
I'm just gonna be completely unbiased, like biased about it. Like
I am
as
fading
much
the
as I
Browns.
want to try not to be biased and admit that I'm not biased, like I just don't ever make a good bet when it comes to them.
Mm-hmm.
Only time I did was Joe Flacco last year. But
Joe.
next we got the Atlanta Falcons beating the Dallas Cowboys 27-21. Another win for the Atlanta Falcons, moving them to 6-3. Um, this game actually was more of a blowout than I think the score shows. It was 27-13, I think, for the most time, and then Dallas got a garbage time touchdown.
Yeah, with
Cooper
Cooper
Rush.
Rush, right?
Yeah, because Dak Prescott did get hurt, and supposedly they're saying that this injury is a lot worse than they originally anticipated, so he's gonna miss multiple weeks.
Right. Like I think near
So
6 to 8 weeks.
yeah, so Dallas is now a part of the Tankathon.
Dak is ass.
Yeah. Um, but the Bijan Robinson touchdown streak ended. No touchdowns for Bijan this week. We did get a Mooney touchdown, and Kyle Pitts did not get a touchdown, actually. I was reading the wrong line. Drake London had a cool touchdown celebration, but then got hurt shortly after that. Overall, the Falcons just seem like they're getting better and better every week.
Yeah, yeah, they're finally filling in the holes. Bijan had a remarkable game despite not getting a touchdown. I mean, he's a solid back. I mean, he's finally developing into the, top draft pick that he was supposed to be.
Yeah. And I actually have a great question for you. I'm curious on what your answer is going to be on this. Do you think, and just be open thinking about it, do you think Kirk Cousins deserves any kind of vote for MVP
Well,
or say in the conversation?
he's gonna get comeback player of the year, so that conversation's not gonna happen.
You think it's just not going to happen at all?
Yeah.
See, I think that he should at least be on the ballot this year, honestly. I think he's playing pretty
He
damn
could
good.
he could have won MVP last year before he was injured.
Yeah, he's third right now in passing yards and tied for fourth with passing TDs this year. So I mean, he's up there in all the stats you need for MVP, but maybe if he was number two or closer to number one, he would be more in consideration.
Right.
The one that would win MVP, in my opinion, this year, if the team was playing better, would be Joe Burrow.
Yeah, but I think Baker Mayfield too.
Yeah, because Joe Burrow is fourth in passing yards, tied for second actually in passing touchdowns. I thought he was in first, but I believe,
No, Baker is.
yeah, I thought Joe Burrow snuck his way back up there somehow. But yeah,
Well,
Baker Mayfield's another quarterback that I think needs to be in the conversation this year.
yeah, the Buccaneers, I'm telling you.
Yeah. Um, but going on to this game actually ended up being a little bit better than I thought it was going to be. Still not anything crazy. But we had the Tennessee Titans beating the New England Patriots in overtime, 20-17. So the under did hit in this game. The
Mm-hmm.
over-under was 38, and the under did barely hit. Um, so whoever had the under, be thankful that it was only a field goal in overtime. But Drake May, uh, he was playing pretty solid in this game. Had a pick pretty early on, and then obviously the pick in overtime, which I kind of thought was a boneheaded pass. But Patriots don't even make it to overtime if it isn't for Drake May pulling off some magic.
Well, yeah, I mean, you included a lot of people on Twitter were saying, he might be a good quarterback after all, but that was just dumb luck. I mean, yeah, he got open and weaved his way around
Well, his my reasoning behind that tweet was his pocket awareness, just knowing where
yeah,
everyone was at,
sure,
where his receivers were at, like the area they were in.
sure, but at
It
the end
wasn't
of
the
the
actual
day,
throw, because the actual throw was
yeah,
a noodle.
no, he just threw it up to throw it up.
Yeah. Yeah, it was an absolute noodle, whether it was going to get picked or not. Um, because he doesn't put up anything like crazy number wise. But I see him being a quarterback that's going to do nothing but get better
Sure, yeah,
as long as they give him some tools to work with, which who knows? Who knows with them? Mason Rudolph makes this Titans team a little bit more, competent. The Titans defense is the only reason that they're staying in games because otherwise they would just get blown out every week.
right.
I would debate that they're worse than the Jaguars, but I think they are better than the Jaguars just because of that defense alone.
Mm-hmm. Tony Pollard's a beast. He had a great game.
Yeah, 128 yards on 28 carries. Calvin Ridley's, playing pretty solid with Rudolph being at quarterback with 73 yards. At least semi earning the contract now that he got, but I never would have paid him that money. Next, we had the Arizona Cardinals beating the Chicago Bears 29-9. This Bears team has just given up after that loss to Washington. They looked so defeated in this game. It was kind of pathetic.
Yes. It's also kind of pathetic that the Cardinals could put up 29 points and still couldn't get Marvin Harrison the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, Marvin Harrison only 2 catches, 34 yards.
Yeah.
Um, this was just an all rushing game, pretty much, because Cardinals offense really didn't do a whole lot other than on the ground. I'm pretty sure actually that's where all their touchdowns came from was on the ground. Trey McBride even had a rushing touchdown.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, which I'm hoping that we see Trey Benson get some more carries more and more each week because
I
I'm tired of James Conner.
I don't. I like James Conner. I need him to win in my fantasy league. My
That's
other my only other option on my bench is Austin Eckler,
Austin Eckler.
which he had a good game last week or this week, but they put up 41 points, so or not 41 points. They put up what
27.
20 27, but he's still got a touchdown.
Yeah. Uh, this next game, I don't I don't know how I'd feel if I was a Eagles fan on this one. They wore the Kelly Green jerseys and they beat the Jacksonville Jaguars 28-23. But if the Eagles are as good as they say they are, shouldn't they be beating the Jaguars by more?
A win's a win. And
A win is a win.
Devontae Smith had a great ass catch, and Saquon Barkley had the coolest hurdle ever.
Yeah, I have no clue how that was even humanly possible.
The backwards hurdle.
Yeah, backwards hurdle is crazy.
Did you see the Nike ad?
No. They
There was
already
a
made
Nike,
Nike advertisement?
yeah, there's a Nike ad with a backwards witness and a backwards Nike symbol with that image.
Wow, they did not waste any time with that.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's not just Photoshop, but it said Nike waste. Yeah, it said Nike with the backwards swoosh ad.
Yeah. Meanwhile, on the other side, um, Trevor Lawrence, pretty terrible game.
Yeah,
0 touchdowns, 2 picks, 16 for 31. Just couldn't
listen,
get anything going at all.
they can't do anything when they're not in London.
Yeah, no, they're toast. They're toast. This next game was my personal favorite to watch this week. Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions beating the Green Bay Packers in Lambeau, 24-14. Just something
Game of
about
the
this
week.
Lions team I just love watching.
Game of the week.
The two-headed monster with Sonic and Knuckles in the backfield. Amon-Ra St. Brown. And the thing is this offense, they don't have to put up crazy numbers to win.
Holy shit, D-Hop 2 touchdowns.
Oh, he got another one.
Yeah.
Did you see that? I saw the catch. I just switched over from the Cavs game. Um, when he made that double coverage catch right before his first touchdown.
Yeah, and then he
That was
hit the
insane.
remember the Titans celebration.
Yeah.
But anyways,
But yeah, like you said earlier, David Montgomery did not reach the end zone, but Jahmyr Gibbs, his running mate, did get in the end zone. Sam Laporta just, I don't know what's been going on with him this year. If he's just not, you know, getting involved or if they're having him just block more. But I mean,
it
shoot, these
seems like
running
they're
backs are playing 10 times better than they did last year, and they were pretty
yeah,
awesome last year as well.
they're running the ball a lot more. I mean, even St. Brown isn't producing as much in the receiving game as he was last year. I mean, Jameson Williams is going to be coming back next week, but even when he's on the field, it seems like the ball is just dispersed everywhere. I mean, even linemen are getting the ball. It's crazy.
Yeah. Jared Goff, he's just, you know, a perfect quarterback for an offensive guru because he's not going to make the stupid mistakes. He's going to be smart when he's in the pocket, make the right reads, make the right throws, get the ball where it needs to be.
Right.
There is a reason they called him the Golden Arm Assassin back in college. But Jordan Love, I I think he might need to sit down for a little bit and rest up.
I can't believe they played him in that game in that bad weather.
Yeah, he looked pretty rough. I mean, he had a couple of throws where he started to like come alive once the TV people were starting to pick him apart. I think it was Tom Brady was trying to pick him up apart a little bit. But
Yeah,
yeah,
did you
this was a game that Malik Willis should have been playing, and I get that it was a very important win for them that they needed to go after, um, especially with the Lions being at the front seat of the NFC North.
yeah.
But this
What
might have
did
been
you
a game
think?
where I sat Jordan Love, especially if he's looking this rough. I would highly look into, maybe sitting him this week against the Bears, especially since they look so defeated.
Well, they're also going into the bye week, I believe, in 2 weeks, so you might as well just rest him up.
Or wait, oh, they're on bye this week. I'm
Yeah,
looking at,
yeah.
yeah, the following week they play the Bears, so maybe he can rest up enough within this week, uh, get whatever's going on figured out. But let's go ahead and talk about the Rams beating the Seattle Seahawks 26-20. Rams are now 4-4, whereas the Seahawks fall to 4-5. Now, I was pretty upset that Puka Nacua got ejected out of this game.
He got ejaculated out of the game.
Yes, he did. And I thought it was kind of a weak call.
Oh,
Personally,
wait.
saying that
Time
he
out.
didn't punch,
Time out. Before we get to that ejection, we have to go back to the first ejection of the day when Brian Branch got ejected from the Lions game. Did you?
that was a weak ejection.
It was, but did you hear Tom Brady potentially criticizing the referees, which was a breach of his contract of being an owner?
No, I did not.
So I'm curious if he'll get punished for that, and what will happen from that all.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
no,
I
I did
turned,
not
I was
I did
watching
not
the
pick up
game.
on that,
Yeah,
honestly.
Tom Brady was talking about how that was basically a weak call and that Brian Branch should not be ejected from the game, and that's technically criticizing the referees, which is one of his, rules.
Yeah. Huh.
But anyways, yeah, I had to bring that up because it bothered me, and when Tom was talking about it, I go, oh shit, he's not supposed to be saying this, but it's very hard. He's in a weird spot where he can't. Uh,
Now that I think about it, I do recall him talking about that. He was kind of set up for that.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
So I can't really blame him too much. Um, but I know you probably enjoyed this game. Did you start JSN this week?
I did.
Oh, I
I
feel like
needed
you
a
would have said that something about it if you didn't start him
I needed a
earlier in the
good
show.
JSN game.
Well, you definitely got that. Um, 2 catches, 180 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
It was beautiful.
Yeah, I got my Tyler Lockett touchdown, so I'll take it.
That's what I've been looking forward to all season.
But Geno Smith, kind of looking like Buccaneers Jameis Winston out here today. 363 yards, 3 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, 7 sacks. It's a pretty Jameis stat line right there.
Yep.
And then Matt Stafford just doing Matt Stafford things with 2 touchdowns and an interception. Other
They
than that,
somehow, they somehow
just
got the win.
yeah. And then Cooper Kupp, 11 catches and 104 yards, especially after having kind of a quiet week last week. And then we had Sunday Night Football where we had the Minnesota Vikings beating the Indianapolis Colts 21-13. Joe Flacco, not his best game, but better than Anthony Richardson in my opinion.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think if Anthony Richardson started, it would have been even worse.
he's just a good game manager. I mean, he always has been.
Yeah, and the reason this game was kind of close was, Sam Darnold wasn't playing that great to start off the game. For
No.
quite a while, that this game was still up for grabs. Sam Darnold, 290 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 2 interceptions. Kind of was starting to look like Jets Sam Darnold until about the fourth quarter in this game.
Mm-hmm. I did have a Jordan Addison touchdown and I have him on my fantasy, so that was nice.
Yeah. But other than that, that is gonna be our recap for week 9 of the NFL season. Um, Buccaneers and Chiefs are about to finish up here right now. Buccaneers have the ball down 17 to 24. Um, I think the Chiefs are probably gonna pull this off, but I don't know what this drive that's uh
The
Baker's on right
Bucks
now. If
the Bucks just punted.
oh they punted? Oh,
Yeah,
I think
there's like just under 3 minutes left, so it's probably quick first down and then kneeling.
yeah.
Still a
Um
good game though. I mean, we had a we had a touchdown from Kate Otten. We had a two touchdown game from DeAndre Hopkins.
yeah, Cade Otton's been awesome this year.
Well, when you lose Mike Evans and Chris Godwin, I mean, what do you
Well,
really have?
even before they lost him, I mean,
Hmm.
he's been really good. He was kind of irrelevant for a while, and he turned out to
Yeah,
be really good.
he's a solid tight end.
Yeah. But other than that, Dylan, is there anything else you wanted to talk about in this episode?
No, we do have our picks of the week to recap on Thursday's episode, along with Week 10's picks. Um, it's coming down to it. It's a tight race. I mean, it's really tight with how close everybody is with our picks. I mean, first and second place are tight, and then third and fourth are also collectively tight. Should be fun to see who comes out in last place. We still haven't figured out what we're gonna do, but I know we're gonna talk about it at our wing challenge video in 2 weeks. I'm
Yeah.
excited. I'm excited to get that video put together.
Oh, same here. Same here. But other than that, if you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you like and subscribe wherever you're listening to. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you turn on the notifications so you're updated on when new episodes release. Also, make sure you follow us over on X and Instagram. We try to keep those posted and updated as much as possible, especially when new episodes release. But other than that, we will see you guys later. Dylan, I'm gonna let you close us out.
Make sure you gamble responsibly. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. We love you guys.